is we're going to talk about our expectations and set a few standards and talk about some goals going into 2018, and we're going to do it in 5 minutes. I'm going to talk for only 5 minutes. The first time I've ever done that in my life. Okay, here's the deal. Expectations. If you're serving as a team lead on Fresh Life, first of all, thank you. You're killing it. You're crushing it. The reason why we're talking about expectations is not because anyone is doing anything wrong or not doing anything well. In fact, quite the opposite. We're doing so well that if we don't talk about expectations, my fear is that we'll begin to coast and that we will not, that we're just not going to be as faithful as we possibly can with what God has given us, which is to see those stranded in sin find life and liberty in Jesus. So let's begin. Expectation number 1, we are scheduled 2 months out. I do not mean you're scheduled on some weird Excel sheet that I don't have permission to access. I mean we're scheduled on Planning Center. Planning Center scheduled 2 months out. Second expectation that goes along with that one, you as a team lead are not scheduling. You absolutely should be delegating tasks like scheduling and tasks like what you would normally do to your team. It's a way of being the key that unlocks the greatness in people. If someone has the gift of administration, which is quite literally a spiritual gift that people have on our teams, and I know spiritual gifts that are that people have that are on our teams. If you want a list, I can give it to you. But find somebody on your team that can do that and be the key that unlocks the greatness in them and delegate that task. So we just talked about schedule 2 months out. You've delegated the task of scheduling. The next thing that I want to talk about is we need to be people that verbally appreciate the people that served the weekend prior. So if somebody serves on a Sunday, Monday morning or afternoon, I think it would be really great if we sent them a text message and just said, here's something you did well. Here's actually 2 things you did well. Here's maybe one thing that you could work on. And here's a win from our team or from our church this last weekend. And thank you so much for being a part of this thing. I think that we need to absolutely give feedback well. And we need to give it frequently, and we also, and even more than we give feedback, we need to appreciate and validate the people that are serving on our teams. The fourth thing is going to be just building anticipation going into the weekend. I don't know about you, but I feel like Sundays are an augmented, separate reality from the rest of the week. I literally get to a Monday and I'm like, what even happened yesterday? But in order to ingrain Sunday more in our hearts and in our minds and in our anticipation, I think it's important to ponder what God is going to do the next day on a Saturday. So I think it would be really cool if we as a church, we as team leads and leaders, got a hold of our team in a group text on our group meet, and we just said, hey, let's be praying through what God is going to do. Let's be praying that more people would be saved. Let's pray that more people would join Crash Course and join groups and be excited about what God is doing in this church. So I think we could absolutely do that. Does that sound good? So again, 2 month schedule out. Number 2, you need to delegate tasks like scheduling as well as scheduling. Number 3, we need to be appreciating and giving feedback regularly after a Monday, and then or after a Sunday. And then the other thing is building anticipation going into the weekend. These are pretty easy things. They shouldn't be time consuming. And when I talk about expectations, I'm not saying do these things. Let's grow in these things together. I need work in them too. I'm not a perfect leader. I'm not amazing by any means at any of these things, but let's keep each other accountable. I'm going to be asking consistently, how's this thing going? And keep this video too, just so that you can gauge just how well you're doing in all of these things. I love you, I appreciate you, and thank you so much for everything that you have done to build God's kingdom in this city. You're appreciated, you're loved, you're valued, you're called, you're chosen, you're equipped. Goodbye.